This is the hour of our class meditation on the 9th day of July, 1954 in the chapel on Sunrise Ranch. And we are considering together attunement technique. We took the opportunity of considering basic class material last evening, so we will continue on from that point. We have introduced a consideration of the principle of reciprocity. And this morning I would like to assist you in into an expanded vision of the significance of this principle in relationship to daily life in all fields, and particularly in relationship to attunement, serving others in any capacity whatsoever. Before we come particularly to point with that phase of our subject, I would like to consider briefly something of the principles which were given particular consideration at the 100, and I do not believe you have yet had opportunity to hear the tapes. Probably will not be too long until you do. But the pattern of expanded differentiation in relationship to being and the expression of being. If we can even dimly conceive the centering of the cosmos as the central sun of suns, the basic point around which all being revolves, and recognize the reality of the central reality of God, we can realize that in the sense of vibratory components, which we might more easily imagine in the sense of weight, at that central point must equal the vibratory components of the whole cosmos. We can begin to realize that whatever there is in the cosmos, all the universes of which we are aware, the constellations, etc., are expanded differentiations of that which is contained at the central point. And insofar as the vibrational components are concerned, the weight factor must balance in relationship to that central point of being, which is beyond the immediate comprehension of man, and that which we know, as well as that which we do not know, with respect to the cosmos as a whole. This means, then, that beginning at the central point, we have, in essence, all things that are, And it is impossible for even God to create something in the body of the cosmos, or in this solar system, or in some other solar system, that is not first established in the vibrational pattern of being at the center of being. And the manifestation of a solar system, or a planet in the solar system, or that which is created upon the planet, as we have ours here, must be an expanded differentiation of that which is already established in this central factor of being, and it is brought into enlarged or magnified manifestation here. We think of tiny things as being less than we are. And yet we have recognized in our study of the human body that if it were compressed to a point of absolute solid, you could hardly see it as a speck on the head of a pin with the naked eye. The physical body through which you express is mostly space. So, it is easy for you to begin to realize that you, as a human being, are in fact an expanded differentiation of being. And the centralized factor out of which you are made manifest, in a direct sense, we speak of as the Lord within, or the Father within, or the God being. But that God being is, as it were, a tiny speck in the body of God, which in turn is a differentiated, expanded manifestation on a higher level of that which is contained in the centering of being at the central Son of Sons. Now, this that is the centering of being is exceedingly great and exceedingly vast, exceedingly wonderful, but it is the concentration of all real heaviness and of the seed factors of all beings and all things. The differentiation which originates there must expand outward through the universe, into the solar system, through the solar system, into the planets, and so come into manifestation in relationship to the created things which appear upon the face of the planet. Once we begin to have even a vague vision of this basic pattern of being, we begin to see that mankind, men and women, were originally created to make possible an expanded differentiation in manifestation at this level of God. Not that man was supposed to be something apart from God, but that man himself should be the magnifying glass, as it were, by which God might be seen in expanded, differentiated manifestation on a basis that would be meaningful to this realm of creation. that which expands out from us, expresses through us, always originates at a point. The point from which the expression of being radiates. And any given expression of being has a specific potential which establishes in the ultimate sense its periphery of manifestation. Within the scope of this periphery, we have that which is the manifest form and expression through form of this particularized point of being. This applies to you as a human being as much as it applies to God at any level wherein God is revealed or made manifest, clear back to the centering of the cosmos. Now, your mind may suggest to you that this sounds deep and difficult, but it isn't. Don't prejudice yourself against it. It is simple. For if we have a point which has within it, in concentrated form, that which cannot be seen readily with a particular form of vision, and we cause that given point to expand outward in all directions within the scope of a circle, and this circle is to represent the periphery of influence in relationship to the point of being at the center. Everything that is contained within the circle, outside of the point, is in minute form contained within the point itself. So, in order to make the point meaningful at a level other than that which is natural to the point itself, we must have a differentiated expansion of being and form, extending outward, so that the point is, in effect, magnified and given a larger pattern of being, form, and expression, or life activity. This enlarged pattern is the realm of your environment or the sphere of your influence. And you, at the point, are supposed to be the magnifying glass by which the centering of deity in you is caused to be seen in the realm of your being, the range of your influence. So you, as a human being, must be the expanded differentiation in the enlarged field by which God is seen, known, revealed, and allowed to act on a basis of the laws and principles and will or intelligent determination which originates at the point within you. For you, made in the image and likeness of God, are, in fact, an expanded differentiation of that which centers your being in the sense of your own God being. Your God being is an extension of another centering, so that your God being is in actual fact an expanded differentiation of that which is contained at the center around which your God being revolves in the sense of being and expression. That centering of being, as far as we are concerned, in this whole holy world, is the one who was made manifest as Jesus Christ, the Lord of lords and King of kings. So we see him as the centering of being, which must be allowed expanded differentiation within the scope of his realm if he is to have meaning in his realm. He does have this expanded differentiation with consequent meaning in what we call heaven, or the invisible realm. There, the extension on the basis of the expanded differentiation has not been spoiled, it has not been made chaotic, it has not been distorted, and consequently is beautiful. The manifestation of true being at a level which cannot be seen with physical perception, visually speaking. So, this then, that is of the point of being with respect to the whole, has natural expanded differentiation through the God beings. But there is a centering of being in you that belongs to God being, which we speak of as your God being, or your Father within, or your Lord within, whatever term might be most pleasing. And while this point is an expanded differentiation of the Lord of Lords and King of Kings, and everything that is in this point, which is your own God being, is contained in essence, in the seed sense, in the Lord of Lords and King of Kings. You, as a human being, if you are to be true to God and true to your own purpose in life, you, as a human being, must be an expanded differentiation of your own God being. An extension of your own God being in magnified form and function. So magnified that it may be seen and known and perceived, understood, right here on earth. Now, that is the chain pattern extending from the center of being in the cosmos to you and through you. And if we do not violate that chain pattern, we are in attunement with God. If we do violate that pattern in the sphere between the human form and the God being, we are not, to that degree at least, in attunement with God, and that which finds differentiated, expanded expression through us, through words, deeds, attitudes, through living, is not of God. But if we have not violated this chain principle in our relationship with God, we are in attunement with God, the Spirit of God is working through us, and the expanded differentiation of the God being is revealed in the living as it expresses through the human form or human being which you are. This should make it very easy for you to understand. It's very simple. Very wonderful as you begin to comprehend it. So the principle of the expanded expression of being through man is actually a revelation of deity in practical function on earth. Now, this brings us to the point where we may consider, with a higher degree of understanding and vision, the principle of reciprocity. Because that which makes you what you are must come through you into manifestation. Not for you, but as an expanded differentiation of God released on earth to others. Released on earth for those whose lives you may touch. The expression of your being cannot be added to you from some external source. It cannot be plastered onto you. It cannot be grafted onto you. It cannot be sewed onto you by any surgical method. It cannot be added to you externally by any means or effort whatsoever. It must be your own differentiated expansion of being, which is allowed to take form in manifestation through you. That means that dependence upon external sources for the reality of being always defeats the human being. And no matter what he may plaster on himself, he only produces a false front which will crack, crumble, and pass away. It cannot do anything else. So, there will be always others who provide the means by which that which is expressing through you may have more meaning external to you. But if the means by which that which expresses through you may be given meaning is there, and you fail to express by reason of a lack of attunement in the chain pattern in being, then, although the equipment is at hand, there is no expression through you in relationship to it, and you do not have meaning, and you have a sense of futility and of failure, insecurity. Then the human mind tries to reach out somewhere, somehow, and get something from somebody which will give a sense of security. People reach out and try to get it from their family, or members of the family, or friends, or someone. Now, I cannot, by any means whatsoever, add anything to you externally. I can provide something which makes it possible for the expression of your own differentiated aspect of being to have meaning here and now, so that under the influence which I provide, you begin to have a sense of meaningfulness, and the sense of futility and failure begins to pass away. You begin to abide gradually in a sense of security, because you have begun to find that I am not adding something to you outside. I'm not trying to plaster anything on you or sew on an appendage in some fashion. I am setting up the vibratory field which makes it possible for you to begin to establish an awareness of personal meaning as you let the differentiated aspects of your being find expression from within yourself. I can inspire that expression to some degree as you let me. I can encourage it. I can help you to function according to the laws that will let it be so, but I cannot do it for you. I cannot make you have it. I cannot add it to you. It must be something that finds expression through you as a differentiated, expanded expression of your own centering of being. Now, that centering of being in relationship to yourself as a human being has not broken the chain. The chain of differentiated expansion through all the levels of being, from the central sun of suns to the surface of this earth, is carried out in absolute precision, harmony, beauty, perfection. There is no break of any kind in this chain between your own God being and the central sun of suns, but your God being, containing the seed essence of that which is to find expression through you, is himself or herself a differentiated aspect of being extended out from the centering of being in the body of God. So, we might say that insofar as this world is concerned, you are supposed to be the skin of the body of God. The body of God inside, invisible. You're not aware of all the functions of God any more than you're aware of all the functions of your own body. The working of all the glands and all the systems in your body. All the nerve impulses. You're not aware of them, and yet it does not keep you from enjoying life and having a full, rich life. Just so, you are not immediately aware of all the functions in the body of God, even though these evidences of life and life expression appear through you. For if we all function correctly, the body of God has a skin or a means of manifestation on earth. And if we break this pattern of attunement, we, in a sense, are peeling off the skin from the body of God. We're refusing to let the body of God have a means of manifestation so that it can be seen and known and understood right here on earth. Now, the principle of reciprocity. If you remember that no one can add something to you from the outside, in actual fact, someone can set something out here in word, in idea, in form, that will help to give meaning to something that's expressing through you, so that both of you have a greater sphere of expression by reason of it. Then you will realize that what is expressing through others cannot have meaning except as you do your part to help give it meaning, give it a form of manifestation. And what is expressing through you depends upon others in order for it to have meaning. Now, if you have reversed and thereby violated the law, you find that you are trying to get something, draw it in, and put it in what you conceive to be an empty place, a vacuum, a place where there is nothing as far as your awareness goes. And if you're trying desperately to fill this vacuum within yourself by trying to get something from someone else, love, affection, love and affection have their place, friendship, things, anything, no matter how good it is, how desirable, how right it is. If you're trying to reach out here and get it and put it inside so that you won't be empty, you are violating the law, violating the pattern of expanded differentiation, preventing the filling of your own being, and so violating the principle of reciprocity that you cannot receive that which others would express toward you because you do not have anything to give toward them. They cannot give it to you and arbitrarily put it into you. I do not care how much anyone may love you, how ready anyone might be to give up his life for you. I do not care how anyone might work to add it to you. until there is an expression from within yourself, you cannot share in the blessings of the principle of reciprocity, because you will have absolutely no means of receiving into form and meaning in relationship to yourself, within the scope of your own periphery of being, that which someone else would express to you. Now, this is true of God himself. And this is why so many people feel that God is far away. On the basis of the principle of reciprocity, God is giving to you all the time. It is available, it is here. But until you begin to recognize the law, function on the basis of the principle of reciprocity, you do not allow the manifestation from within yourself which will make it possible for you to contact and thereby receive into meaningfulness to yourself that which God would give. People expect to fail to give something of themselves to God. Oh, they may say, well, I've given myself to God, I'm saved, I'm this, I'm that. And it means nothing, because they're not functioning on the basis of the principle of reciprocity. They have failed to recognize the necessity of the differentiated aspect of personal being in expanded expression, which would allow the meaningfulness of the human personality to be made manifest on the basis of the divine personality, the divine characteristics. As soon as the human mind is convinced that it cannot add something to itself from external sources, and that no one else can, the human being will stop wasting his time. But everyone who comes to you for assistance will be trying to get something. That's all right to start with. You will be giving something on the basis of the principle of reciprocity, because you are in attunement in the chain pattern of being. There is something expressing through you on the basis of the principle of reciprocity. But much of it will not be received. It just goes out, seemingly into space. I know that which I express outward in this sense and make available to you and to others, a lot of it seems to just go off into space like the shining of the sun. Because, as I indicated to you before, there isn't 10% of what I express on such a basis that is received on the basis of the action of the principle of reciprocity, which will allow it to have meaning to me and to others right here on earth in this present time. Now, I know that that isn't lost. If I depended upon human vision in an outer sense, in the human range of comprehension, I would feel that it was lost and that I was futile, because so little of that which I express on the basis of the principle of reciprocity is received into form. I cannot make it take form by myself. You cannot make anything take form by yourself. It takes two or more, as the master put it, where two or three of you agree on earth as touching these things. What things? The heavenly things, the laws of being, the principles about which I am talking to you. It shall be done of my Father which is in heaven. It must originate with him insofar as this realm is concerned, but it will flow through your own God being. And if you let it, you will find that the pattern extends out through you. Now, if when you begin to realize that the pattern is extending out through you, you begin to think, well, now it's going to take form. Everything's going to be lovely just almost overnight. I feel this expressing out, and it's wonderful. And you start watching for results. And you see someone walk by, utterly oblivious to what is here. That someone could allow an expression from within his own being to touch here in this periphery pattern of life. It could touch. There would be a vibrational fusion, and something would take form, and it would have meaning to that person and to you. And you would both be rewarded by the beauty, the effectiveness of it. But you see this person walk by, oblivious to the fact that it is there. And you would like to give it form for this person, but he or she can't receive it. There is no means, because that person is failing to function correctly on the basis of the principle of reciprocity. It cannot be done. God himself cannot do it. You cannot. And yet, if such things do not manifest according to the ideas of people out here, who will they blame? Themselves? Who do you suppose gets blamed around here? Me. Of course. I'm the one that gets blamed. Well, I don't mind too much, except that it makes me sad, because human beings are failing to receive what is offered. I know that it is there. But other human beings have to do their part toward giving it form. I cannot force it into form all by myself. If I tried to, I would fail. Only as I keep this chain pattern of attunement properly established and allow this vibratory differentiation of my own aspect of being to be constant and consistent, can I be always ready to fill any need anywhere in relationship to those whose lives may touch the periphery or come within the scope of my sphere of being. But if someone does come in there in relationship to me, that something is there. I do not have to make it be. I don't have to stop and say, well, now, I pray thee, dear God, to make this be so that this dear person can receive it. No. That would be an insult to God, because it's already there. It doesn't have to be produced. It's there now. It has been in every instant since any of you have known me. Always there. But it manifests only on the basis of the principle of reciprocity. It cannot appear by any other means. Never has and never will. Nothing ever appears from God himself except on the basis of this principle. You cannot give a true attunement except on the basis of this principle. Nothing around about you can take form. The expression of truth through your lips, if you know something of truth, only as there is response and the vibrational pattern of reciprocity is allowed to take form, can you express what you know. I know a great many things that I haven't told you yet. I haven't run out exactly. Perhaps this morning's class will help to convince you of that, I hope. But can I tell you, until you provide the pattern on the basis of the principle of reciprocity, by which it can be given form even in words, to say nothing of anything else, you are allowing, on the basis of the principle of reciprocity, something to take place in the feeling realm, in the invisible vibrational realm, in advance of anything I can give you in the form of words which you can hear. And if you're not sharing that to some degree, my words will mean nothing to you. Now, some of you will feel these words are very illuminating. And some of you may feel, well, I just got lost. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Well, I do not care how hard you try, how you struggle, what you do. You cannot share on the basis of the principle of reciprocity the blessings made available through my words if you have not first, on the basis of the principle of reciprocity, helped to establish the vibratory field in the invisible sense, by reason of which the words may finally come into form. It's not a matter of what I know. It's a matter of what kind of a pattern do I have to work with. How much are others round about me providing this contact point on the basis of the principle of reciprocity, both invisibly and visibly. Invisibly first, because if you do not share it without consciously knowing how you share it or what you're doing, if you do not help establish that creative field, and the time comes for the words to take form, you may hear with your ears certain sounds, but they do not have any meaning in you. You can't take hold of it. You can't jam it down in yourself. You can't struggle with it and get it. It's either there or it isn't there. But to the degree that you helped me to establish this vibrational field on the basis of the principle of reciprocity, and the time of the words comes, they have meaning inside of you. You feel it, you know it. The words are understandable. And to you, they are a great blessing. And they're a blessing to us. Because then you have allowed something to come out of yourself. And I have allowed something to come out of myself. And those two currents met. A fusion took place. A form appeared. Creative action, if you please. That form, when it first appears, is not the completed thing, because if I speak a word here, I anticipate that it will eventually become an expression of your life, and in turn be made manifest in form over there somewhere, and continue on and on. Not something that just flows from my lips and drops into nothingness when the sound has ceased. No. Why do we record the words? Because there will never again, in all eternity, be the particularized combination of vibratory factors which we have here this morning, which permit me to express the words you now hear. You are absolutely the only ones that could permit this as it is to appear. If we had more people here, it would be different. It wouldn't be the same thing. If we had other people here, and you weren't here, it would be different. Because I can only express here into the realm of form on the general and specific basis of the way in which you are working with me and have been working with me on the basis of the principle of reciprocity. I cannot make it come out. I can't just come up here and without regard to these laws and principles start talking and have any value to you or anyone else. In the ordinary form of lecturing, people sometimes wonder, why doesn't he use any notes? No, I never use a note. Why? Because that which I express is born in the moment of its expression. But it has been conceived before, and it has been taking form in the womb. And those who hear have, in one way or another, whether they know it or not, been helping me to nourish that, to let it grow in the invisible realm. And finally, it is given birth. And you and I are the parents of it. Not just me all by myself. You may say, I am the father of it, but you're the mother of it. Male or female, it doesn't make any difference. All of you together or individually. You're the mother of it, I'm the father of it, and we, in the pattern of attunement with deity, produced it. It's our baby. In the creative expression of life. If you reject the baby which you helped to bring forth, well, then you're the one that suffers. It doesn't have any meaning to you. And it's your loss. But you're not the mother all by yourself. All of you together form the mother. And this is what came forth in this hour of birth into the realm of form on the basis of the expanded differentiation of being according to the law or principle of reciprocity. Now, everything that's manifested anywhere, at any time, in any level of creation, here or anywhere, the highest heaven or lower down, shall we say, it manifests this way. This is the principle of life itself. It's the secret of creative action, creative living. And only to the degree that you permit yourself to share on the basis of this principle of reciprocity in the expanded differentiation of your being in relationship to mine or someone else's, can you ever have meaning. Only so can you ever begin to find that what seems to you to be an empty place isn't. That you have meaning to yourself and to others. You have a basis of security, of confidence, of what is called faith. You have a basis of knowing and of growing, because you realize that it is the differentiated expression of your own being. For if it's your God being, it's your being. Don't separate the two. They're one and the same, if you let it be. It's the differentiation and expanded expression of your own being in the sense of your relationship to deity, which permits you to live and be a party to the manifestation in form of something which has meaning. You're one of the parents. Where two of you shall agree on earth as touching these things, it shall be done. Not maybe, if, perhaps. It shall be done. Now, gradually, people around me have been beginning to realize that. Not very vividly yet. But a few are beginning to realize it, beginning to know it. And we're moving a little faster. I've known it for over 20 years. But I couldn't do anything about it beyond the point where someone would help give it form under the principle of reciprocity in the expression and manifestation of the expanding differentiation of being. There is no other way. You can go where you will, do what you will, try as you may. Anyway, and this is the law. It works and nothing else does. All other things lead to chaos, disintegration, decay, and failure. It is the way which the Master talked about. The way, the truth, and the life by which we may share the victory. In this, you see the foundation of attunement technique. Without this, there is no attunement. Consciously or unconsciously shared, you do not bring about an attunement with that which is higher. You may establish an attunement with something that is unworthy of you and the person whom you think you are serving. But only so can you truly serve in the name of God, in the Shekinah of His presence, in the revelation of His being. There is no other way under the sun. There never has been and never will be. It is this or nothing for every man, woman, and child upon the face of the earth, or anyone who shall ever be in the days to come. If we know this and understand it and live according to it, we can help others to find the way and share it. For this is the way, the only way. The Master called it the straight and narrow way. There is no other way except the broad way that leadeth to destruction. And many there be who go in thereat. But this is the way of life, the way of meaning, the way of living in the Shekinah of His presence, the way by which we can know health of body and mind and heart, the way by which we can glorify God in the living of life and share His power in the patterns of truth and know the wonder of His love within the scope of His dominion or His kingdom. For this is that which establishes the kingdom. The kingdom extends and is made manifest on the basis of this chain pattern and the differentiated expansion of the aspects of being. This is the basis of the kingdom and shows the extent of the kingdom. And you're in the kingdom if you're attuned to that, and if you're not, you're not. It's at hand, as the Master said, available to each and every one. What shall we do about it? Try to get it and take it into ourselves to fill the empty places? If we do, we will fail. At first, human beings must, of necessity, start that way. They're self-centered and self-active, and they don't know any better. So we begin to gently lead them. We give them something in the pattern as it is possible to make it manifest through others. Someone else is responding. And we share the cup of water with them. We share some of the food from the banquet table so that that person can be refreshed and renewed and begin to feel better. And finally, that person, continuing to respond, begins to function on the basis of the principle of reciprocity, and he himself is producing something of this. Then he is truly sharing it. Not just as a passing wayfarer to drink a bit now and assuage the thirst, only to go on out into the wilderness and perish of thirst a few hours later. He begins to help produce it and to give it form so that it remains. Dress it and to keep it. This is the way by which the garden that God planted eastward of Eden was given form in the beginning and can be now. This is the way by which heaven and earth shall be one. This is the way, the truth, and the life. And it is open to every man, woman, and child on the face of the earth. Let's stop wasting time and energy trying to utilize the ideas and concepts of men and begin to be true to the principles of being and share in the birth into the realm of form in relationship to all that which God has ordained for you and others. That is our business here on Sunrise Ranch. Sharing that to whatever degree your response permits, you begin to find the way, trying to get it on some other basis, selfishly, functioning self-centeredly. You throw away your opportunities. You have a sense of loss. You know something should have appeared that didn't, and you blame someone else. And it isn't because someone else failed, it's because you failed. You blame me, perhaps, because you think I didn't give you what you think you needed at the critical moment. I did. Did you receive it?